The Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Get up to a $1,000 deposit match when you sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. Hello and welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me, as usual, is Joel Meyer. How are we doing today, Joel?
Doing all right. It's been a quiet few days here in the aftermath of the draft. Just catching up on some shows, as usual, as we wind down the winter sports season, getting into the summer. I got a lot of Mafia shows. The real Mafia show these days I'm watching is Gamora. This show is dark as hell. Very, very fun. You know, it's not the most... It's not like the most intelligent show. But I should say that in the context that I just watched Too Old to Die Young, which was like Lynchian, just the symbolism and rituals and then the atmosphere, minimal dialogue, all this good stuff. So in contrast, it doesn't seem as heavy, but it actually is a very good show, Gamora, and it's an Italian series taking place in Napoli. I highly recommend it. Great acting, great dialogue. But yeah, it's been quite a few days here. But the draft or the golf tournament on the weekend, you know, at the old Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is of course a classic. Once again, it's like live betting golf on the weekend. It's way better than just like firing off darts prior to him, at least in my case, because Potgieter, this guy, he was hot on Saturday. I was like, okay, I'm gonna bet this guy. Kept betting this guy, even into the UFC. Added parlays with Potgieter, and he carried the day on Sunday. He showed some nerves towards the middle of it, but he ended up in a three-way playoff with Chris Kirk and Max Grazerman, and thankfully Potgieter got the job done. So yeah, it wasn't a splashy 90-1, 100-1 ticket that people got before the tournament started, but I'll take that because anytime I just bet all these darts, they never come through. So I'll take the lower payout if it means just losing money on golf every week. So shout out to the South African Aldrich Potgieter.
Yeah, I mean, a win's a win, especially if you get it there. Yeah, you got those darts. Usually, you're burning through those darts, but you know you didn't want to use them up before the draft there, so before it started there. So
I was ripping through those darts in the playoff, that's for sure.
yeah. And Wimbledon, I've seen a few top seeded people go down on both the men's and women's side there, so that should be a interesting.
We're dodging bullets there
to look at as well. Yeah, you know, good week here. It's been hot. I've been down to AC, up to Long Island. A lot of travel for the past 2 weeks for me, but settling in here in Philadelphia for the summer. It's hot, it's sticky, it's humid. There's a trash strike, so there's trash all over the city. So it's
the worst
even smells worse than normal here. But I got situated there, and yeah, happy to be back here recording with you. Make sure you guys do subscribe to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on YouTube, on Twitter at HockeySGPN, Apple, and Spotify. We did get got a new review. I'll have to read that at the end of the show. And the review was from Conway Twitty on Twitter, who is one of the winners of our Stanley Cup Final Props contest. He reached out to me. Waylon Jennings was his name in the contest. He got a Chicago Blackhawks jersey. Can you guess what player he got? Not a current player. I will tell you that.
Oh. Chris Chelios?
Not Chris Chelios. No, more recent than that.
Jonathan Taves?
Not Taves.
Marian Hossa?
You got to be a real fan to get this guy, I think.
Brian Bickle?
No. Defenseman.
Duncan Keith.
No.
That was my guy. No, I have no idea.
Nicholas Hjalmarsson. Got a jersey.
Dang, hell yeah.
It's his first jersey. Nicholas Hjalmarsson was a rock and never talked about enough.
Trading him to the Coyotes was like the beginning of the end for the Blackhawks franchise, right?
Yeah, I mean that fell apart there. He said my favorite player from those years. It annoyed the shit out of me that Seth Jones came in and took his number immediately. Thanks again. Keep up the great work there. So shout out Tom. Thanks. Glad the jersey got to you safe there, and hopefully you can rep that this upcoming season.
Always ready, Jomerson. That's a good pick.
Yeah. All right. And of course, make sure you check out the SGPN app. You can get every podcast on this network on one app, whatever sport, they are all there. All right. We have actually a lot to get into because this is the one busy week of the offseason with the draft, going into free agency, a few trades here and there. So let's just start with the draft and what just a horrible, horrible presentation, a horrible broadcast it was. Was it TSN or Sportsnet that had it in Canada?
Sportsnet.
And they had their own like broadcast and whatnot, I imagine.
Oh yeah, it was Jason Bukala, Sam Constantino, the draft guys, David Amber, of course, and Elliot Freeman, of course, around. But yeah, how was the American broadcast?
I mean, shit. It was ESPN. I had a reprieve of ESPN coverage for the Stanley Cup final, but you had Kevin Weeks on there. I think Megan Shaka was on there. Emily Kaplan, your favorite, Leah Hextall as well, doing interviews and whatnot.
I far prefer Kaplan over Hextall.
Yeah, yes, but yeah, it was just way too long. 4.5 hours. Like that's the longest first round of like any sport you ever see. And you see like, all right, there's 32 picks, 3 minutes per team. That's an hour and a half plus commercials, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. This thing will be over with. And I was very happy that the Flyers traded their 31st pick, so I didn't have to wait around to see who it was. I could just kind of have it on the background while I was laying there on the couch. But just a horrible presentation all around. And you had people come out after the fact, specifically Frank Saravalli, who is currently looking for a new plat. But he's like, oh, why are people complaining about this? This is what the teams voted for. Blame the teams, blame the GMs for voting for this. No, it could have been decentralized. The team said they liked it better because, they're not on the draft floor all next to each other. They're in their war rooms. They can openly talk about players, openly talk about transactions. So from a team perspective, that's better. And that's fine if the league knows what they're doing, presenting everything. But Gary Bettman, like I had just had to mute him. I only unmuted for the picks that I cared about. Like Gary Bettman introducing all of these celebrity people to announce the picks. Half of the celebrities weren't even there. Like they were just calling in via Zoom or whatever. And then the player gets drafted. They go into the draft house and go on Zoom with the worst part. That was awful there. And I'm not sure if Sportsnet showed this part, but ESPN then interviewed the players. There was like a little couch for two people. So a player and one of his family members sat on the couch. And then the third family member was just like standing there hovering. Like, what exactly are you doing? Let's get to the draft. Let's get to the players. The people that care about these players on these teams that are drafted are going to go out and seek out their interviews with the media and whatnot. It's just a horrible presentation, a horrible thing. And they're going to be like, all right, this is why we have to be back in person. But this is why ESPN should not be covering hockey.
Agreed entirely. Should go back to NBC, I guess, in the States. Not that it was that much better, but certainly better than the ESPN product. But yeah, I wish there was an over-under offered on the amount of times the player was asked, how does this make you feel? Because it felt like every fucking player got asked that question 3 times. The Zoom thing with the GM was awkward as hell because there was a time delay, so they were like talking over each other, and it was just embarrassingly sentimental. It reminded me of the COVID NFL draft where there weren't all the stories about all these players, all these tragedies or whatever, but it was equally sentimental and like, how does this make you feel? Blah 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 blah. And it took like fucking 2 minutes for a guy to get to the stage because he had to handshake and bro five with all these other potential draft picks along the way. So it took forever. I ended up flipping the channel to CFL game like in between draft picks because there's so much useless content in between the picks. So yeah, I agree with you. The presentation. I've heard this take that Gary Bettman sewered this draft because he wants to go back to an actual event like at the Sphere last year, which was brilliant. And it made a lot more sense. And it was better for betting as well because the insiders get more information. So you can actually get better info as opposed to everyone being isolated in their own war rooms or wherever. Mm-hmm. The idea was to save money so they don't have to all go to the draft, but they still have to go all to the war rooms, and then they've got to fly everyone into those places as well. So I don't know how much money they saved anyway, and that was just embarrassing. And one more final complaint. This is a real Joel pet peeve. The fact that only one guy congratulated the Florida Panthers on winning the Stanley Cup. And this is like a staple of the draft. Like when you go up there, you got these hockey guys, these legends. They always try to congratulate the winner of the Stanley Cup. And the only one who did that was Mattias Samuelsson of the Vancouver Canucks, guy who nobody expected him to go up there. One of the few non-celebrities to do it. And he carried the show. The celebrity nonsense bullshit, like they're trying to grow the game in America as if the guy from Entourage is going to actually make a meaningful impact in terms of the growth of the game in the States is brutal. And the fucking Mighty Ducks thing, absolutely cringeworthy. I was cringing throughout the presentation. I tried to avoid most of it. It is embarrassing, but we'll get into the betting wise aspect of it, but it was a miserable watch.
Michael Samuelsson from the Canucks. You said Mattias Samuelsson, who's a Sabre right now.
Mikhail.
I thought you said Matthias.
Oh, maybe I did.
Mikhail. Okay.
Swedish.
Yeah. Whatever. There. And I mean, you said the take that Gary Bettman was trying to sewer this draft. I've always had the take that ESPN got. I mean, they didn't want the rights to the NHL. They're sorry. All right, let's put a low bid here. If we get it, we get it. And now they're just killing it because ESPN makes their money off NFL and NBA. So the fewer people that care about the NHL, they're going to go to the casual shit there. And my one take, and I know that's not going to work logistically for the draft, but to get more casual fans involved is push the age back 1 year. Because what's so exciting about the NFL and NBA is those players your teams are drafting, most of them are going immediately into a starting role, if not a bench role in the NBA. And then you're getting fans of teams, like casual fans, are asking me like, "Oh, Ryan, how should I feel about this Martone pick?" I'm like, "Good. Like he's probably not going to play this year, but in a few years, it's like, all right, well, we got to wait around for it." So I'm not sure if that would ever happen. I know there's a lot of things going on with the junior agreement with college and whatnot, but I feel pushing it back, you'd be able to get a better evaluation of the players. The players can go straight to the NHL, more likely. It just makes it more exciting for the fans. I'm not sure if that's ever going to happen, but that's an idea I had.
Interesting. I haven't heard that one before. I'm not sure of the logistical ramifications of that. Certainly, as things become more of a college game with the CHL players now allowed to go to the NCAA, maybe that's more of a possibility to make it more like the NFL draft. Certainly would make it easier on scouts when you have a lot more tape on these guys, draft them later on. I'm for that. I can get into that. I haven't really thought about that at all, so I don't have a good take on that at this moment, but certainly something to consider. I'm not opposed to it at all.
Did you watch the NBA draft at all? Because I heard like that broadcast was awful too, and I'm sure it was so much better than the NHL.
I didn't bet on it, so I didn't watch it.
Exactly. That's what my next point is, that any casual fans turning on the NHL draft, seeing this garbage, they're not going to stick around. They'll maybe stick around if their team is up next or whatever, but they'll be like flipping around, maybe just go on Twitter, social media, see what is happening. Like no one is going to be watching that besides the diehards, besides the people that bet on it. And speaking of betting on it, did you get caught up in the James Hagan steam? He was up to like minus 400 to go fourth overall. Did you take advantage of getting any Desnoyers in that spot?
Yeah, that was my main point that I was going to bring up in terms of the draft betting review, is that it just takes a few tweets for something to become a mania, and it didn't take much for that line to move 8-7 to 1 to like minus 400 at the end of it for James Hagan to go forward, just on the possibility that the Kraken or the Utah Mammoth would trade the pick to the Islanders to get their Long Island boy James Higgins. And I didn't buy any of it, but I didn't capitalize on it either, because I could have been betting Desnoyers at that time at much better prices. And I didn't believe that Higgins was going forth, but I wasn't sure if maybe Martin was going there or somebody else would fall. So I was a little indecisive. I couldn't capitalize on it, but the NHL draft in particular is very vulnerable to these kind of moves, where it just takes a few tweets for the market to go wild because they're not taking a lot of money. And of course, all the casuals, they just want to bet like the big numbers, the overall pick. But the other point of that, the draft position, those moves were all bang on during the day. I was betting those, like Lekovic over, Carbonell over, Nesbitt under. Those bets were really solid, even winning by multiple picks, especially in the case of Nesbitt.
Yeah, Flyers traded up to 12. I was like, what the fuck are they doing here? But
yeah, so those markets aren't really being bet into by like people just following like random tweets on Twitter. They're actually being informed by information. So those are the markets that I was looking at. So I was able to capitalize on those at least. But yeah, Desnoyers at 4 was a missed opportunity. But at least I didn't fall for the Higgins steam like a certain someone we know.
Yeah, like you said, is that Archie? Did Archie fall for that?
He did. And he was roast speak for it. No, Higgins is minus 300, Joel. Fuck you.
Yeah, like you said, like Desnoyers could have went there. Martin could have went there. Like Utah could have taken Martone even. There wasn't a clear guy besides Higgins, like there was at 2 when the Frondell news was coming in and Misa was getting down to, minus 250, minus 200. But yeah, I mean, so my takeaway from that is a top 5 pick is never being traded. Top 10 even. Like the Islanders had the capital. Like it made sense that once they got those 2 picks from the Canadians for Noah Dobson, watch out for the Canadians, by the way. Lane Hudson, Noah Dobson, that's going to be insane there. They might make the playoffs 2 times in the next 3 years, going back to your pet before. But they had the capital. They had the players to trade up, but it's just like these GMs are just so tight that they're not trading a top pick. So every year it's like, oh, top pick might be traded. Watch out for this. And then it's just nothing.
We can go to a break if we need to, because I have a lot more thoughts on the draft on the other side.
All right. We are brought to you by Circa Million and Circa Survivor. Think you know ball? Then you have to enter Circa's football contest with $21 million in guaranteed prizes. There's no rake, so if entries go above the guarantee, all extra money will go to the prize pool. Circa Million, you pick 5 teams against the spread each week or go for the ultimate sweat in Circa Survivor. There's even the Circa Grandissimo, a $100,000 Survivor contest. You must register in person at a Circa Sportsbook in Nevada. It's a great excuse to book a trip to Las Vegas. Sign up in Nevada, play from anywhere. With the help of SGPN's official proxy, go to footballcontest.com and use promo code SGP to get $50 off your proxy fees. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. It's your place to bet on every sport, including the MLB, WNBA, golf, and of course, some futures. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right, Joel, take it away.
Sure. Yeah. The difference between a top 5 pick and picks in the late teens is immense. Like the amount of players who become franchise players in the top 5 compared to those in the late teens is astronomical. So trading all that, and they wanted to trade, I guess Dobson was potentially in the works at the time before the Canadians got him. Actually, no, that was because they got the 2 draft picks in the teens. But they wanted to trade, like Barzal was in the works, other players like for the Islanders. But to give all that up just for a guy who happened to be from the island, an Islanders fan, it's very sentimental. So it never made sense to me why they would want to do it. It would be highly naive of the new GM there in New York to give that up. So it just never made any sense to me. So yeah, like they would have to give roster players too. Like the Mammoth, of course, they want to be better in the near future, so they would have to give up way too much to get that pick. And there was a massive drop off. Like after the first 10 picks in this one, like the guys in the late teens, those probably like top 6 forwards at best. At best, they're not going to make the difference that potentially a top 5 pick will make for their team. So yeah, good on the Islanders for not going through with it. They would have been rightly castigated as being idiots if they did. And yeah, so yeah,
the Islanders did well with those 2 picks too, getting Eklund and Aitchison. Like they had one of the best drafts, especially in the first round there.
For sure, they got another guy who fell in the second round as well. I can't think of the name right now. Was it Spence possibly?
It may have been not changed by round.
I can't remember at the moment, but anyway, the
Prokhorov they got in the second round.
Oh yes, he was projected in the mid 20s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good pickup for them. And yeah, so the Islanders, I think, did well when I feared that they did pretty poorly if they wanted to give all that up just for sentimental value, I think. Of course, that stuff matters, to rally the fan base and all that. But at the end of the day, winning comes first. And if you create a successful franchise, then the fans will come regardless of where the players are from.
Yeah, and if they really wanted Higgins that bad, like the better move would have been to trade down and get a bunch of assets. But you can't pass up on Schaefer. You can't pass up on getting a number one defenseman that can play in all situations. It's just you just can't.
Yeah, he's clearly the top guy at this draft. Even like he played only a handful of games this past season, but his quality is so apparent that he's a tier above all the other early picks in this draft.
Yeah, and Higgins falling to 7, I think, is crazy. I mean, sticking there in Boston. Boston College is going to Boston, so Bruins could be right back on the up and up in a few years.
Yeah, no doubt.
You got anything else here on the draft, or should we switch over to free agency?
Yeah, nothing too important.
Yeah, any thoughts on your Canucks picks? You got Coots. Is that really it from the first round?
The second round, Russian goalie, which is important because apparently the Canucks goalie coach is a legend and he could be on the move elsewhere. So it's nice to get his opinion for one last draft potentially. And he really rates this Russian guy they got. And yeah, the Brady Coots signing is very good, or draft rather. Is very good, considering he was the youngest captain in the WHL. Apparently, just a very hard worker. Projects to be like a third line center, just an absolute workhorse. Apparently, all the other guys in the team really wanted him on their team. Like when they did the scrimmages, they always picked him because of how annoying he was to play against. So he's just one of those guys. And yeah, I like that the Canucks didn't waste that pick trying to get somebody. In the crowded free agency market where they try to trade, because everybody's trying to trade their picks to get better, but clearly the market wasn't there for that, and I'm glad they didn't make a desperation move and just pick the good guy. So yeah, I like that signing, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I know you. I don't know if you were heavy on it, but you recommended it, and I tailed it. The Coots before Nesbitt.
Oh no, we got one more thought. Go ahead.
If I had told you before the draft that Coots went at 15, you would be like, all right, perfect. That's going to be a slam dunk bet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you recommended it at, like, I think it was still a pick'em at Bet365, and it got steamed up to like at least minus 250. So
yeah,
that was some bad CLV. I mean, CLV didn't really matter.
Well, once again, fuck Kyle Dubas, because like twice over he fucked us. Like picking Nesbitt way ahead of where he was projected, just a few spots ahead of Coots, and then Bill Zonin at like 21, 22, wherever they picked in the early 20s. And that ruined the 3-1 under QMJHL.
Nesbitt went to the Flyers. The Flyers traded up for that. That was not Dubas.
Oh no, it was right. It was Kindle, who was projected at 20 and a half. I had his over at 24 and a half, and he picked him at 11. So Dubas is once again on my firing line. We have more to say about Dubas as we get into the free agency conversation here.
All right, let's just move on over to that. We're going to go team by team. NHL.com has this free agent tracker team by team. So
no. One more comment.
Go ahead.
To tie things up on the last conversation point we had in the last show about the OHL. Apparently I'm an idiot and a moron, and I confused the WHL team with an OHL team. It's that simple. I don't follow minor hockey nearly as much as I should, apparently. And that's why we had that issue. And of course, there's an OHL guy who's picked number 33.
Henry B went in the first round. That's what we thought we needed. Yeah, Henry B.
Yeah, and Spence dropped. So even though Henry B did go in the first round, which is tied with our Demidov Twin Calder bet. So at least we got that in. But yeah, that was bad. And Zarovsky, that guy. 2 picks later, we had a 7-1 for him to go in the first round, over 1.5 Russians at nearly 3-1, and he goes to pick 34. So a couple of bad breaks there, but it was still a mildly profitable draft, slightly better than last year.
All right, let me pull this up here on the screen. I realized I never put up the draft picks on the screen as I meant to, but whatever. Most people listen to the podcast anyway. Yeah, let's start with the Ducks here. They actually don't have all the Ducks picks. Let me share this one or the Ducks signings. Big one, Mikael Granlund, 3 years, $7 million a year for him. Ville Husso, and then two lower guys there. Good second, third line center for the Ducks. They're definitely looking to be a better team this year with Coach Q, and have to overpay when you're a team like that.
Yeah, it's a bit of an overpay, but it's only 3 years. The guy's still. He's not too old yet. He's not over the mountain. Plus, the Ducks have still a limited cap space. I don't really hate that one. It's more like the Kreider and the Trouba things they did in the past. The trades.
The trades, yeah. It's the trades.
Yeah. They also signed, who did they sign? Some other old guy. It wasn't a great deal, I don't think. Like, I don't know what they're doing exactly. Like, Patrick Beek is not really inspiring me in terms of his trades. The drafting has been pretty well. But in terms of the signings in these trades, I'm not loving the Ducks long term. But they have such a strong youth dynamic that I think that they could take a step forward with the new coach there. Now that our old friend Greg Conan is gone, I still have faith in the Ducks. But as long as Patrick Beek doesn't get in the way, more or less. Yeah. So I think they take a step forward this year for sure, especially the new coach, one of the best in the league in Joel Quenneville. But I don't love their free agency, but I don't hate the Granlund signing.
Also traded John Gibson to Detroit for Peter Mrazek and a few draft picks there. So it looks like Lucas Dostal is going to be the number one.
For sure. That was good. Like, Gibson has been done for a while. Yeah. He's just been cashing checks.
Yeah. Bruins here signed Tanner Jeannot to a 5-year deal. He somehow keeps getting, good contracts here. $3.4 million for him. Signed a bunch of, lower tier guys, Sean Corrali, Esiman, Riley Tuft, Yogi Harju. Morgan Geeky got a 6-year, $5.5 million extension there. Mason Lohrei got a 2-year extension. Nothing really too splashy from them, but I guess their biggest question is going to be if Hagens can make the NHL and if Swayman can bounce back.
It's funny. The Jeannot signing is bizarre, considering what he's done offensively over the past few years, and considering what the Lightning gave up for him, and he still gets all these crazy deals, even though he's a non-factor, a cul-de-sac offensively. But he is a Bruins kind of player. Provides some physicality. He'll attack you. Maybe he'll forecheck. The forechecking will compensate for his lack of offensive touch. But 5 years at that price is not ideal. But of course, my guy Thomas Trance, he loves Mikey Icemonts, Matej Blumel. The Bruins got these guys, so maybe they make up for that Jeannot signing with a few of these low key things, and those guys can become players there in Boston. But the Jeannot signing is a big whiff, I think, but we'll see.
Also picked up Victor Arvidsson from the Oilers for a 5th round pick. So Victor Arvidsson clearly didn't really fit in there in Edmonton. So we'll get a chance probably in the second line in Boston.
For sure, like the Bruins, they got McAvoy, they got Pasternak still, they got Jeremy Swayman, so they got to be competitive yet. They're not totally tanking, so it makes sense to get a couple players at least.
Yeah. Sabres signed a bunch of guys here. Ryan McLeod extension, Alex Lyon to be the backup, I guess. I did hear UPL's name was potentially becoming available in trades there. Kozak, Geertsen, Danforth. Nothing really to say about the Sabres. If we can you want to skip over them?
Justin Danforth, another Thomas Rance guy, but McLeod, I think that's a pretty good one for the Sabres, considering their track record in this spot. But yeah, we can more or less skip over. The Bowen Byram thing is still to be determined. Apparently, they are interested in keeping him. Like they're blocking interest at this point, so we'll see if they can reconcile there.
I know the Blues are potentially interested, and they just waived Nick Leddy to buy him out, so that could be a potential move there. But yeah, $5 million for McLeod there at 4 years in Buffalo. Calgary, Prosvetov, your boy from the Avs there, signed. Kevin Ball got a 6-year, $5.3 million deal. It's like Morgan Frost just re-signed. Joel Hanley as well. not really much to talk about there with Calgary, but Darth Vladar leaving for the Flyers. We'll get to them later in the show.
Sure, yeah. The Kevin Ball signing, I like that one. That's all I got to say there.
Hurricanes, their big move, sign and trade for Keandre Miller. Signed a 8-year deal with, it was worth like what, 8 million or so, 7.5 million. So he hasn't quite hit his ceiling with the Rangers, but the Hurricanes tend to get the best out of their guys. Traded a Scott Morrow, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick for Keandre Miller. So the Hurricanes haven't done a ton yet. We heard they were potentially in on Marner, potentially in on Ehlers, who was still out there, but it seems like the Hurricanes might still be waiting for their big swing.
Ehlers is the one they're hiring. Of course, Cervelli was saying today that the Capitals and the Hurricanes are the favorites now to land Ehlers. So we'll see. I don't know what their cap situation is like, but I wouldn't say that they've been in the weeds here, considering that big Miller trade. That makes up for the Burns and Orlov being out. Get a bit younger there in the back end. Plus, he's a more physical defenseman, which is unlike what they've been in the past. So, yeah, I don't mind the Hurricanes, what they've done so far. Of course, they're always like the free agent winners, right? The offseason.
Yeah, like, oh, great offseason by the Hurricanes. Right. Yeah, also locked up Logan Stankoven for 8 years at $6 million. Right. He's just turned 22 in February, so got his feet wet there with Carolina after the trade. I feel like
that's a good deal.
He'll be a great like second line guy for them. He exactly fits the way they play.
I think he has potential to be first line. And with the cap going up, that deal will look very good in the future.
Even better. All right, Blackhawks signed Toninato here.
Skip.
Also re-signed Ryan Donato. That was before. Skip the Blackhawks to the to the Avs here. Avs re-signed Brock Nelson last month. TJ Tynan. Former Flyer Ronnie Adder. You also got there. He's going to be
the only thing to talk about the Avs is the Charlie Coyle and Miles Wood trade to the Blue Jackets for Gavin Brindley.
Yeah.
A promising prospect and a couple draft picks, but the main idea is that they clean up cap space, and I've seen that they're nearly at $8 million free. And we saw the Georges Laraque tweet about maybe a potential. Of course, anytime you can say that Crosby to the Avs, you're going to get a ton of clicks. So you can only read so much into that, but there is something definitely on the horizon here for the Avalanche. They are definitely not done in this offseason. Whether it takes until the deadline, I don't know. But it's something to monitor. But I really like that trade from the Avalanche. Like, once again, just like the deals between Chris McFarland, the old Blue Jackets guy, and Columbus. Like, Colorado is just the big brother to the Columbus at this point. It's been a long relationship there. So good to see it continue.
Yeah, I do feel like Miles Wood was a little bit kind of under the radar guy, kind of an unsung hero in Colorado. But Charlie Coyle just cleared. No, he wasn't.
No,
he was always annoying to play against at the very least.
Yeah, I don't understand the contract to begin with, like 6 years at 2 whatever. So that's just a clear cap dump. And Charlie Coyle clearly had value. Otherwise, the Avs wouldn't have got shit just for uploading those contracts.
Yeah. Blue Jackets re-signed Ivan Provorov to a pretty big deal. I think it was like $8.5 million or so there. Yeah, $8.5 million for 7 years. That's a lot. Dante Fabro also 4 years, $4 million. Isaac Lundstrom, $1.3 million. It's Owen Sillinger re-signed there. So Blue Jackets not really doing a ton. I feel like they have cap space to work with. They should be trying to build off of last season, but yeah, they have $20 million in cap space. Voronkov is a restricted free agent, so maybe they're able to find something in trade or whatnot.
I have no thoughts about the Columbus thing other than what I said about the Avalanche trade.
All right, let's do Dallas Stars here. Then we'll go to a break. Radek Faksa returns from the Blues to sign with the Stars there. Of course, they also locked up Matt Duchene a few weeks ago, 4 years, $4.5 million. Jamie Benn returns on a 1 year, $1 million deal. Great team-friendly deal for him. I signed Marek Bork. Colin Blackwell resigns. Not a lot there for Dallas. Just running it back. Hopefully their new coach. They got a new coach, right?
Yeah, the assistant coach.
So
Gulufson, I can't really say his name.
Glenn Gulutzon, yeah.
Gulutzon, yeah.
So they're just running it back and hoping that not pulling.
The big thing was re-signing Matt Duchene a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, get Duchene, get Ben back there. It's as long as they didn't have to clear out cap space by trading Jason Robertson, they were going to have a fine offseason. Like losing Granlund isn't really anything too big for them.
Their back end is looking pretty rough now, though. But we'll get into that in the offseason.
Yeah, very top heavy back end there. All right, we are also brought to you by Underdog. Underdog Best Ball Mania is happening all summer long, giving away $15 million in prizes, including $2 million to first place. No waiver wire, no arguments about trades. Best Ball is the best way to play fantasy football. Underdog is also a great place to play Pick'em. Make sure you use promo code HGP when you sign up to get a $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. And of course, Rhythm, they got their power trends, AI detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high return on investment. Think about a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. Power trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app, check out Power Trends, and start betting smarter. Will be. Get your 7-day free trial. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Right, going down to the Detroit Red Wings here. A lot of bottom six signings kind of here. JVR 1-year deal. Mason Appleton coming over from Winnipeg. Soderblom signing a 2-year deal. Got Kane back on a 1-year, $3 million deal as well. Just gonna once again be in the middle of the Atlantic Division. Not good enough to compete for it, but they'll be on the playoff bubble if they get some luck going their way.
Zero
thoughts
for these Red Wings. Zero thoughts, just zero future. I don't like what the Red Wings doing. Like, at least they're not like wasting money on stupid free agent signings. That's the one positive, I guess, for the Red Wings. But
like they did the past 2 or 3 years.
Oh, more than that now.
Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, Ben Sherratt.
They have nothing going. They should just be bad because the rest of the Atlantic is getting better. Yeah. They're not getting any better, so they just fucking tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Oilers here locked up Evan Bouchard, $10.5 million for 4 years. Signed Andrew Mangiapane, pretty much to replace Victor Arvidsson there. Pretty good deal. 2 years, $3.6 million. Of course, that Trent Frederick, 8 years, $3.8 million contract. Kasperi Kapanen back on a 1-year deal. Just I think Mangiapane is probably the best signing they had there. But I mean, it just comes down to defense and goaltending in the playoffs.
Yeah, more or less running it back. Number Corey Perry, number Vander Kane, of course. Getting rid of a couple old guys, which is good. Connor Brown is elsewhere now. Where did he sign again? Was it somewhere on the East Coast? It was it Boston? Was it
Devils?
Devils.
Yeah,
I knew it was one of the teams I have in my peripheral vision, as it were. But Oilers just running it back. All they can do right now, considering their cap problems. Andrew Mangiapane, I think, came in a pretty good number there at 3.6. So that's probably better than I expected from the Oilers, given their circumstances.
Yeah, so I think Arvidsson was making $4 million, so they traded him away for a pick, signed Mangiapane. That's some tidy business there. Also running it back somehow. Panthers, Marchand back, 6 years, $5.2 million. Ekblad, 8 years, 6.1. Bennett, 8 years, $8 million. Thomas Nosek back on a 1-year deal. The only really guy they lost was Nate Schmidt, who signed with Utah. So Florida has their core 9 or 10 guys locked up for the next 3 or 4 years.
Far and away the winners of the free agent cycle here. I mean, how are these guys getting beaten? The only way that they're getting beat right now in the East is through attrition. Is how many playoff games? We've been saying that for years now. They keep making it so far. They gotta expend all this energy, but no, clearly they've mastered the load management aspect of it last year, just kind of sandbagging the second half of the season as Kachuk got healthy and everything. The Panthers are an absolute wagon. Truly the best case for a dynasty since the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, like just the class of the East, absolute masterclass by Bill Zito once again. Fuck all the whiny Leafs fans who keep talking about the no state tax and all that bullshit. I've got so many things to say about the Leafs. I mean, we'll save it. But the Panthers, like, they're just a well-run organization.
Mm-hmm.
You can blame it on Bettman for favoring all these Sun Belt teams or whatever, but it's not that. It's the fact that they have an elite organization that just continually pick the right guys, both in the draft and in pro scouting. And yeah, like, that's why they're winners. And they built a culture, and they deserve to have these guys coming in at less money. Like Ekblad at 6.1 is ridiculous. Marchand, yeah, sure, pay him till 2043, but he's still that's a great deal getting him there at under $6 million.
I'm gonna throw up their cap wages paid. Like, Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Marchand,
all in their prime.
Lundell, all through 2030. Seth Jones, Ekblad, Forsling. Like, Bob's going to be interesting to see if they. I mean, I'm sure he'll resign next year, but he's getting up there in age as well. So that's the one issue. And I mean, we saw the attrition this time around. You had Kachuk playing with a torn groin or whatever, like off the bone. Sam Reinhart, like a MCL tear or whatever he had. Barkov with the split open palm. Like, they were beat up, and they still
took care of
business. Just absolutely crazy there.
Yeah, that's I got thoughts again for later podcasts, but
yeah. I mean, Panthers rightful favorites for the Stanley Cup, but you'll get the same price before the playoffs too. So just wait to play them. Kings made some interesting moves on the blue line. Cody Ceci, 4 years, $4.5 million. Brian Dumoulin, 3 years, $4 million. Corey Perry, 1 year, $2 million, and Todd Forsberg, backup goalie, 2 years, 2.2. Phoenix Copley has some depth there. Kuzmenko back on a 1 year deal. I just don't get the CC and Dumoulin stuff. It's just way too much.
Yeah, even Armia, it's just making their team older when they're already really old. They got to rely on the young guns. Like, if Brad Clark doesn't take a major step forward this year, if Quentin Byfield doesn't take another step forward, Bajan Kempe doesn't keep scoring 40 goals, it's going to be issues there in LA. I'm not sure that they, we always shit on Rob Blake for the past few years, but Ken Holland, I don't think that he's any upgrade.
No.
So yeah, the Kings are a big fade for me. Again, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't make the playoffs next year, which sucks for them because they still have Kopitar and Doughty playing at a strong level, but we'll see if they can maintain that level for another full season. So yeah, Kings are a big fade. Do not like what they've been doing at all.
Yeah,
and losing Gavrikov for Dumoulin and CC, just massive loss.
Yeah, going down to the Wild here. Don't really think they made any big moves. Nico Sturm is the highest paid player, $2 million 2 years. Some former Flyers here: Tyler Pitlick, Nicholas Aubé-Kubel, Cal Peterson. Don't think the Wild did any trades either.
Just Marco Rossi watch.
Marco Rossi, yeah, that's true. That's the big thing there. It's going down to Montreal here. Capo Kakkonen as a backup goalie. Let's go to the next page. Nothing else.
Sammy Blake, Calder Cup winner with the Abbotsford Canucks. He earned a contract. Good for him. He's also Stanley Cup winner too with the St. Louis Blues back in the day. Love the Canadians, what they've been doing. Getting Zach Bolduc out of St. Louis for Logan Mailloux. They had an excess on defense, so they opened the way for David Reinbacher and the like on the back end, while getting somebody who can keep up with Ivan Demidov, because Newhook clearly was too slow for that guy. So Bolduc there, a promising forward out of St. Louis. I think he had nearly 20 goals last year. He's a former first overall pick, and I really like what the Canadians have been doing once again.
Yeah, I'm doing some writing for a Blues site, and a lot of Blues fans were not happy with that trade. So good business there by Montreal. I mean, getting Dobson, getting him. I'm also going back to the Wild real quick. They also got Tarasenko from the Red Wings for future consideration. So scoring middle six winger there for the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
He's done. Nashville got the sign and trade for Nicholas. Not a sign and trade, just traded for Haig from Vegas. Signed Perbix as well. So seems like they're trying to add some depth on the blue line and hoping they can run it back with their forwards there.
Not much to add there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like they don't want to go full bore like they did last year and just totally upset the framework of the team. So I like Nashville next year. You know, they're not going to finish like fourth or fifth worst in the league next year. I can guarantee you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Devils. I mean, Devils seem to always have a decent offseason. Once again, doing it this year. Jake Allen, a lot of people were like, oh, why are you giving him 5 years? Well, you gave him 5 years because he only got 1.8 million. Like, he's going to retire or be hurt before that. And then it helps the cap. Connor Brown, like you said, 4 years, 3 million. Brought back Cody Glass, 2 years, 2.5. Dodonov, 1 year, 1 million. So
perfect.
I mean, they needed some grit. They needed some experience to help them out in the playoffs. I mean, maybe that does it there for them.
Right, Jake Allen outperformed Markstrom for large portions of the year last year, so great backup.
Yeah, Rangers, the big Miller trade was their big move. Not really much to say here about Justin Dowling or Derek Pouliot going back there.
A lot to say about the Rangers though, with getting Gavrikov in.
Gavrikov's down there. Yeah, okay,
yeah. And they also signed Will Cooley. A very nice deal. I think it was only 2 years, but a very nice number. So this guy should make a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the comparable for Matthew Nyes, actually. And I think he had more points in the regular season than Matthew Nyes. So that's an interesting one. He got a lot. They got him at a discount in terms of the AAV, but they only got him for 2 years. 3 years?
2 years. 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, so Nyes is there for 7 years with the Leafs, but Cooley, I think that's a very good deal. Although they might have to pay a lot more for him in a few years.
2 years, yeah. So Rangers, a lot of changes for the Rangers. We'll see how that works out for them. Islanders, Jonathan Drouin, I like that signing for them. 2 years, $4 million. Not sure who he's going to play with, but I mean, he hopefully maybe Barzell, maybe he can play top line, second line there. Tony DeAngelo back for a year. Big save Dave as a backup or third string maybe to Sorokin and Varley. Dobson trade. The Islanders. I mean, the Metro is just a mess, so who knows what's going to happen there? But Islanders, Patrick Waugh could drag them kicking and screaming to a wild card spot.
Yeah, it's totally dependent on how well Sorokin plays. He had a down year last year. If he reverts to how he played 2 or 3 years ago, then the Islanders are a playoff threat. But it's like Alexander Romanov. That's a pretty good deal. That's like the Dobson equivalent, more or less. And just going back to the Canadiens, that Dobson signing is just elite. That's another reason why they can dispense with Logan Mailloux.
Yeah, Romanov, signing him they should have signed Dobson too, but Romanov, good contract there. Ottawa not doing a ton, just a lot of keeping the Cousins, keeping Claude Giroux, bringing in Lars Eller, another veteran center for them. Re-signing Zetterlund, 3 years, $4.2 million. Tyler Klevin, getting Kaliev on a 1 year deal. So
Kaliev, that's a sneaky signing there. I like that one quite a bit. Minimum.
Yeah, I think they got them today or later yesterday. So we'll see what the Sens are able to do in the Atlantic. Got the Flyers, signed Christian Dvorak, 1 year, $5.4 million. Signed Noah Juleson, former Canuck. Dan Vladar, as I mentioned before, 2 years, 3.3. Dennis Gilbert, Lane Peterson, and also signed Noah Cates. A little bit too much money for Dvorak, but Danny Briere said they wanted him on a 1 year deal. They didn't want anyone to, have anyone that was blocking anyone in a few years when the prospects were ready. So I'm happy enough with, getting Vladar as a solid backup. You know what you're going to get. Dvorak, a good third line center, good on faceoffs, good on the PK. So after doing nothing last year, I think getting a few Band-Aids is going to help the Flyers this season.
Only comment is Noah Juleson. He'll give you maximum effort and not a lot of skill guy. He's a local kid, so we got a lot of attachment, a lot of affinity for him out here. And it makes sense that Tocchet wants him because he was one of his guys. Like the local fan base were crucifying him because he was playing ahead of Eric Brandstrom early on in the last season. But no, he definitely merits that $900K deal.
Yeah, I noticed last year he had 0 points in 35 games, and I imagine
that's not his job.
No, I know he's a shop. I'm not sure if you know much about Nick Seeler, but Nick Seeler is like a left-handed, like just block everything, like
Right.
hit. So that seems like kind of similar to what Juleson is, and with Risto potentially being hurt to start the year, he's probably going to fill that role. Flyers did need some size on the blue line. Going down to the Penguins here, I think Anthony Mantha, $2.5 million. Good piece of business there. A bunch of brought back Tomasino on a 1 year, $1.75 million. Caleb Jones. Not much else there, but you said you had something else to say about Dubas.
I did, didn't I? No, I was but wait for the Leafs. Wait for the Leafs.
Right. Wait for the Leafs. Let's continue on down here. Sharks re-signed Eklund, Kurashev going in there. That's a pretty good signing by them, I think. Adam Gaudette, a good bottom six grit guy. John Klingberg, good for him. Kind of betting on himself with the Oilers, getting a $4 million deal. I imagine he'll be a trade deadline piece for the Sharks.
Eklund is the only one I want to comment on. That's a tough one because this guy is going to be elite. And the fact that they only signed him for 3 years, considering the cap is projected to rise considerably. You don't like these bridge deals when you got a guy at that kind of cap hit. There's no upside, like a Jack Hughes or a Cale Makar, where you can get these guys in their 6th, 7th years playing for way under what they should be paid. So the fact that he only got 3 years there, I think that's a big miss for the Sharks. So yeah, I would wanted to do my best to tie him up long term there. I'm not sure the circumstances of that, but to my eye, that seems like a miss there because Eklund should be a big piece of this core going forward, and having him only for 3 years should be a problem for them when it expires.
Yeah, it's weird this offseason, like with the cap going up for next season, but with the cap projected to like skyrocket in the next few years, you see these young guys that should turn into
They're
studs.
smart, they're wise. Like we're going to cash in when this deal expires.
Exactly. Seattle, Matt Murray, not even sure which Matt Murray that is. Ryan Lindgren, 4 year, $4.5 million. Carol Fleury, less than $1 million. Ben Myers. Lindgren probably add some veteran to their blue line there, but not sure really what to think of Seattle for next year.
Do not think much of them. They're going to miss the playoffs again by margin. He's only 27. He plays like a 37-year-old. The Rangers did a lot to did well to get off of that contract. Lindgren, I think he's not a good player. And Kraken, I don't know what Ron Francis is doing over there. If he's still the GM, is he still the GM even?
I think so. I think
okay. I don't know what the plan is there in Seattle. There's going to be like a not even a bubble team, just like not a total tank team, just like in between that and a bubble team.
Yeah, just waiting to see if Beniers and Shane Wright and Berkeley Catton and
good luck with that.
Brady Martin, see if they can pan out in a few years.
Brady Martin's a good pick. We'll give him that.
Brady Martin was a good pick. Yeah. Blues signed Pia Suter today, 2 year, $4.1 million. Got Joel Hofer back on a 2 year, $3.4 million. Nick Bukestad, 2 years, 1.7. Is a good, probably fourth line center for them. But I mean, Blues are kind of in that spot too, where they're kind of young a little bit, but also still have those veterans where they're just in the middle of the Central Division.
Yeah, Pius Suter just came in a few hours ago. I thought that he would have got longer term, maybe even more money. I think that's a really good deal for the Blues. I guess maybe Suter thinks he has another contract in him where he can do even better, but this is like the ideal situation considering how well he played with the Canucks last year and considering how open this free market is for centers. And I'm surprised that the Blues got him for that cheap. Good job by Armstrong/Steen in that respect.
Going on to Tampa Bay here, not really any big names. Yanni Gourde re-signed last month, 6 years, 6-year deal, $2.3 million. I got Boris Kachuk, Pontus Holmberg, Jacob Pelletier. I like that signing for them. 3 years, only $775,000. I think the first year is a 2-way deal. Flyers did not qualify him after acquiring him from the Flames. I feel like he can be one of those sneaky guys for the Lightning that like plays middle 6 minutes, can score like 15 goals, can be one of these annoying guys for Tampa Bay.
Right. Yeah, buying low there. 3 years is crazy, I think. But I guess you can always bury that. Brisebois is one of the best GMs in the league. Pontus Holberg is another one relevant to the Leafs. I'm surprised the Leafs gave him up. Like, the Leafs could have had him for $800K, and the Lightning signed up for 1.55. So that makes you wonder. He's a big body, not a lot of offensive talent, but certainly a good depth piece who was beloved by the Leafs. So that was a little surprising that the Leafs didn't qualify him. But good job by the Lightning, I think, even though there's no big moves. Not that they can make any considering their cap situation.
Yeah. Speaking of those Leafs, they got Tavares back, $4.3 million for 4 years. That's a sweetheart hometown discount there. The Mariners sign-in trade for Nicholas Waugh there with Vegas. Steven Lorentz, 3 years, $1.3 million. Matthew Nyes, 6 years, 7.7. You mentioned was pretty good as well. But what are your thoughts on Toronto here?
Right, Nyes and Tavares both came in at a little bit under than what we expected, especially considering the noise that Tavares would want more than the hometown discount he was papermarked for. But I wanted to talk about Marner most of all because this is the main issue here in Canada. It's the Leafs fans are like totally castigating this guy, even though he just took what the money that Dubas offered him. Like, you can't blame a guy for just taking the money that he's offered. It's not like he like held out forever. Dubas sank this team. It wasn't Mitch Marner just being a perennial playoff disappointment, which he was, to be fair. But he was also an elite talent who nearly exceeded 100 points 3 times. And his two-way game is absolutely exceptional. And he got just thrown out by the market. The fans are fuckheads. And like he was getting attacked like every playoff loss. You know, there was police involved and all this bullshit around that. So I can understand why he just wanted to go. And they're trying to say, oh, he didn't want to give us trade for Rantanen or trade for Shea Theodore and all this bullshit. But no, that's his right. Like, if he wants to see out the playoffs with the team he has a contract for, that's his right. And there are plenty ample opportunities to trade this guy years before his final year in Toronto, and they didn't. And you could blame Dubas, you could blame Tree Living when he came in, he could have done it. And no, so everyone wants to throw Martin under the bus, but I'm not going to be the guy who does that, even though he certainly wasn't a good playoff guy. I think that they got a lot worse by losing him for Nick Waugh there. And also, I want to say that the amount of bitching and whining about the Florida Panthers right now and the Vegas Golden Knights with the tampering, it's off the charts now. Like, there's no talk of tampering except when the Leafs getting attacked by it. Like, how many fucking signings did we see last year? Like 20 in the first 10 minutes of the free agency opening. Nothing about tampering. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, because Marner is going, there's these tampering accusations, all this bullshit. It makes me sick. But hopefully Marner has an excellent year and just makes the Leafs ruin it.
Yeah, I mean,
rue their how they treated him.
Yeah, I mean, he should have an excellent year there with Eichel and Dorofeyev on the top line in Vegas. And yeah, I mean, realistically, Toronto should have been like, all right, are we resigning you or are we trading you last offseason? So they could have got something for him. You know, maybe they are able to talk to like a Rantanen or Marty Natchez or someone like that to bring in. And yeah, it sucks the reception that Marner is going to get whenever Vegas returns to Toronto because he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. Like he definitely, came up small in the playoffs, but so did Tavares, so did Matthews, so did Nylander at times. Like it's the whole team. It's not just him. You can't just put it on him. You can't expect him to take another discount there like Tavares is doing.
It's just because he's Toronto. The Toronto fans expect him to take all these millions less than what Nylander is getting, what Matthews is getting, and Tavares. Actually, he was the one who first got the deal. Like when Tavares got that massive signing, you knew that Marner was going to get a lot of money. So you can blame management for signing Tavares to that massive deal, even though Tavares is full worth for that, to his credit. But that just set up the whole chain of events. Mm-hmm. It's the opposite of Bergeron, right? When Bergeron signed for that low deal, that set up the rest of the Bruins. That kept them under the cap for so long, like underpaid guys. But once you have Tavares signed for that big deal, then the other guys, they also want big deals as well. So it just it's all about culture setting, right? And Marner, I don't think is the right scapegoat for the Leafs right now.
No, definitely not there. But I mean, he's the only one that's left so far, so he is going to be the scapegoat, unfortunately. All right, moving on here to the Utah Mammoth. Some decent signings here. Nate Schmidt, 3 years, 3.5. Good on him. Betting on himself, kind of 1 year deal with Florida, winning a cup, going out, getting paid. Brandon Tanev, good depth guy, 3 years, 2.5 million. We talked to trade for JJ Peterka. That's a good move for them. Yamamoto. So yeah, Utah should be a fun team next year, I think.
I like the management there, what they got going on. Bill Armstrong, Brandon Tanev, I like that signing. Nate Schmidt, of course, getting on in years, but he was great. One of the leading point scorers for the Panthers in their playoff run. That makes up for the loss of Michael Kestering, I think. And yeah, they're going to have a ton of prospects coming in to the fold, and the young guys keep getting better. So we are going to be high on Utah this season.
Yeah. All right, going down to the Canucks here. Talked about the Garland that was rumored, 6 years, $6 million a year. Demko, 3 years, 8.5. Besser came back surprisingly, 7 years, 7.2 million. What are your thoughts here on your Canucks?
A lot of thoughts, too much for this abbreviated segment, but just basically running it back, which could be seen as a bad thing. But considering the fact that we all expected Brock Besser to leave and we'd be left with Evander Kane as his replacement, it's actually looking better now than it looked a week ago. Besser took everyone by surprise. The insiders, Canucks fans, Canucks media, everyone was shocked by Besser just totally changing his mind and coming back for a pretty hefty discount, I think, considering what was available out there on the market. Apparently went to Italy, maybe had like a change of heart. Was like, oh no, I really love Vancouver. Like, fuck going to Edmonton. Why would I go to Edmonton when I can live in Vancouver? Besser coming back is the big win. Garland getting there. He's part of the core. Demko at 3 years for 8.5. That shows that they still have some faith in him, and they're not committing him to him long term in case these injuries become too much of a liability. So that's a big question mark still. Same with Pettersson, but Ratu there is a good signing at center. We'll leave it at that. But Besser is the big win for the Canucks, considering they're going to let him for free, and they got him for nothing, basically, just a little bit of cap space. Yeah,
I mean, that was all the talk after the deadline. It was like, oh, why didn't the Canucks get something for Besser if he's going to walk? And now he's signing back like, I think, for like 7.2 million isn't bad for him, even given the cap going up.
No, he's not fast to begin with, so he shouldn't age too poorly. It's not like he's going to lose a lot of foot speed, and he still has this elite shot.
Yeah, Vegas Golden Knights brought back Smith and Brendan Saad, 1 year deals, $2 million each there. From other depth deals here. Kaden Korzak getting a 4-year deal, $3.2 million. So he's going to be a name on the blue line there for a while. But of course, the big move, trading for Mitch Marner, and got $12 million. I feel like I think that's kind of what you said. I thought he might get closer to 14, if not 15. But going to Vegas, having a chance to play there, I feel like I'm looking at their lines right now. Dorofeyev, Eichel, Marner, Barbashev, Hurdle, Stone, Saad, Carlson, Smith. Like, that's a dynamite top 9.
The Knights always have this idea of a succession plan, right? We saw the Eichel trade for the departure of Pacioretty. He clearly lost it, and now we have Mitch Marner for Mark Stone, who's probably not going to last too much longer. And we had Hannafin coming in for Alec Martinez, who's clearly done. And now there might be Rasmus Anderson, who will replace Pietrangelo. Yeah. So the Knights are just like my ideal model of a team is to do it through the draft, but the Knights are just showing me that there is another way, just continually changing over the team through trades, through free agency, and they've been elite at it, and they've shown they had the results. So I cannot fault them at all for it.
The Knights are kind of building their team like the NBA does, which does players like changing teams every few years and just not necessarily focusing on the draft.
Right, or like the LA Rams, fuck them picks, right? It's
Yeah.
because I think the Knights only have like one guy that they drafted who's in a realistic position to be on the team.
Dorofeyev they drafted, Korzak they drafted, but everyone else here trade, expansion, trade signed. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, credit to them. They're clearly doing it well, and I'm going to be high on them once again. They're the only team I have on significant futures going forward, just because I know that the odds will drop. But yeah, credit to the Knights. Hopefully they get Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Jack Eichel. We'll see if he resigns an extension. He's eligible to now. He is a free agent next offseason. If he
301, Rocket Richard.
For Jack Eichel?
Why not? 301? You don't think he could score 60 goals?
I guess he could be the one shooting if Marner's passing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Or what about Dorofeyev?
It might be Dorofeyev. It might be Mark Stone. I don't know, but 301 is pretty ridiculous. Well, he was on the line with him last year.
Yeah, but I think Mark Stone. Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's finish out. I got the Capitals. Martin Ferravari, 7 years, $6 million. Declan Chisholm, 2 years, 1.6. Yeah, we'll see if the Capitals can have that same magic next year after having the Ovechkin-Gretzky chase this past season.
Do you have an opinion on Ferravari? I have nothing.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, well, they are favorites to sign Nikolai Ehlers.
Yeah, that would be helpful for them. He can fill the role that I don't know, but I don't know what the Capitals lines look like right now. Yeah, who knows? I don't care about the Capitals. And then finally here we have the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, they've done a bunch here. It looks like they're going to let Ehlers walk, though. I mean, pretty much decided now. But I mean, Taves coming in, low risk deal for the hometown guy. Nyquist they signed. He'll be bottom six, maybe third line winger. Tanner Pearson is still sticking around in the NHL somehow. So yeah, Winnipeg is going to be just on Hellebuck's back again.
Yeah, Nyquist is an interesting one there at 3.25. I think he's pretty washed. Yeah, losing Ehlers is a massive blow. I think Taves is going to be a mystery. Who knows? It's a good sentimental story. The Bill Masterton, that's the one for like comeback player of the year for the NHL, right? Bill Masterton, I think that's the one.
Yeah, I think so.
So between Jonathan Taves or Gabriel Landeskog, I guess, comeback player of the year. But yeah, I got nothing else to say about the Jets at this point.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about the hockey offseason so far?
No, it's been pretty fucking boring, but the Marner thing has been a lot of Leafs last, at least. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah. All right, we're at almost an hour 10 here. You got any bets, any thoughts for the weekend? Any Wimbledon? Is there a golf tournament? Any
the John Deere Classic? Just what I've been looking forward to. No golf stuff. We are high on Alcaraz to win the whole thing in Wemby. We want Iga or Rybakina to win the ladies' side. Djokovic from the quarter, Sinner to win the quarter, Sinner Alcaraz to meet in the final. Just very chalk on the men's side. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Wimbledon is always a good time.
Yeah. All right. Make sure you subscribe to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Like, comment, hit that bell so you know when we're going live. It should be Wednesdays in the off season around this time, 5, 6, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will let you know if not. Also, subscribe, rate, and review on Spotify and Apple. And we have a 5-star review here from Conway Twitty. Number 1 NHL betting. This review is long overdue. I've listened for a couple years. Joel and Ryan know their stuff. True hockey fans, insightful, good chemistry between them, funny at times, but not unnecessarily so. I found other NHL betting shows, but this is head and shoulders above the rest. Maybe most importantly, they're not trying to sell me anything or trying to prove how smart they are. I only hope that one day they'll explain why Joel roots for the Avs and also the Canucks. It's still a mystery to me. Maybe it's explained in an early episode that I missed. Keep up the great work. Thanks. So, Joel, if you want to answer his question there.
I was 7 years old, watching the Avalanche Cup run. I've been over this story multiple times, and of course, we don't have the same listeners every single episode. And yeah, I fell in love with the Joe Sakic, Patrick Roy team. I also played a lot of the Quebec Nordiques on the old NHL 93, 94. So I was familiar with the players when I was like a very young kid there. Watching Black and White and that CBC playoff coverage. We didn't have cable at the time, so I was watching it black and white, more or less, in those playoffs. And just as a kid, 6, 7 years old, I fell in love with the Avalanche. And yeah, but now I live in Vancouver, and I have a strong affinity for, where my family grew up and all that. So I have to split my loyalties, unfortunately. It sucks at times, but it's not the worst, because the Avalanche and the Canucks rivalry is very low on the list of the worst rivalries.
Yeah, there's some.
And Joe Sakic, Burnaby Joe, he's also from Vancouver. So
yeah, there's some fans of two teams that are like, "Why are you a fan of a second team?" But I almost wish I had a second team, because it's very rare that they're both bad at the same time.
You've tried.
I've tried. I just can't. I can't get invested. I can't.
The Cats, the Hurricanes, the Senators.
Yeah. It's not the same. It's not the same. Yeah, but that's the story there. That's gonna do it for us. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at HockeySGPN. I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
And I'm Joel Meyer. I'm in the States for the next week as we celebrate the Independence Day of the glorious country of America.
See ya.